YouTube, I'm Marissa.
I'm Connor.
And together we are
Carissa.
Thanks for joining us on our Moroccan adventure series. I can't wait to delve into the next cities that we visit.
Yeah, the next city is Marrakech. So let's dive right in.
So after Essaouira, we drove about 4.5 hours to Marrakech. And that's where we spent days 3 through 5. I think this was Connor's favorite city.
It was definitely my favorite city. I enjoyed our entire trip, but if I go back to Morocco, I would spend it just in Marrakech.
So we thought traffic was crazy in Casablanca.
Yeah, it's worse than Marrakech.
I didn't think it could get worse, but it got worse in Marrakech, which is a crazy thought.
Yep.
And if you jam it all into the Medina in Marrakech, you just get... I don't even have a word to explain it.
We stayed in Riad inside the Medina. The Riad was beautiful.
After a long day of travel, Connor passed out. But there was also a cool feature in this one since it was our honeymoon. They had 2 swans on either side of our bed, but look at our view. It was just gorgeous. You could see into the little patio of the Riad.
There was a fireplace. There was a cat, but I don't think we got him in this video. We might have a picture of him somewhere.
And we didn't use the pool, but it was really cool that it had one. We stayed on the accessible one down at the bottom, but they did have an upstairs, which I came up to the top to take a look, just kind of see down. If you look closely, you can see Connor in our room.
Hey everyone, there I am. It was absolutely just a gorgeous venue. I'm sad we couldn't stay up top, but all in all, I would say this place did not disappoint. Outside of Riad is a completely different story. It's just a jungle of streets, a jungle of people, and streets doesn't quite do it justice. They're more like alleyways. None of them are big enough for a car. A lot of mopeds.
Mopeds, bicycles.
Yep. There are, I think you said, 4,000 streets.
Yeah, it was some number that
Medina,
was astronomical.
Of which 1,000 of them are dead ends. So you really need to know where you're going. It was just crazy.
The Medina itself was, I think, what you picture when you think of a Moroccan Medina.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very old and it was...
Yep. It was a bazaar.
Yeah.
And I don't mean bazaar like
crazy.
Weird. I mean bazaar as like a selling of wares.
Just kind of every little cubicle had a different person with a different ware that they were selling just kind of next to each other. That being said, there kind of wasn't any personal space.
No.
Like,
there was no sense of personal space.
That was a concept that was like out the window when we went into the Medina.
What I found really interesting about that is I get that from people that are local, but it's also a huge tourist spot, so there's a lot of foreigners, and they didn't have any sense of personal space either, which surprises me. So I don't know, maybe is personal space like an American thing?
I mean, comment down below if you think personal space is an American thing, because I'm thinking it might be. But I think the coolest part, talking about personal space and not having any, was that during the day, the internal part of the Medina was almost like it had, some people doing some magic things or, that kind of stuff, just, scattered throughout the bout. But once it got close to nighttime,
it just fills
in with people and trolleys and different things, and they basically set up a mini city
every night. And then deconstruct it every night, which is crazy.
It's a crazy concept, but the experience of watching it happen
was cool.
was really cool.
We actually took a time lapse of watching it fill up. I don't think it turned out very good. Maybe we'll show it. What do you think?
I think we should show it.
Okay, we should show it. The funniest part about that time lapse is after we were in a restaurant up above this square with a great vantage point. After we took the time lapse, this
Young girl.
she could have been older than 22.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't think she was French.
Yeah, French, Spanish, something.
Came up to us and didn't introduce herself. All she said was, "Can I get your handle?" And this is pre-Carissa Explains It All. We are not social media people. We're both like, what?
What handle are you
What are you talking about? And she's like, for the
video camera.
like, what? She's like, where are you going to post it? I'm like, I'm not posting it, this is for me. And she just did not understand. But here we are posting it. So.
Maybe she finds it?
Maybe. If you recognize us from the restaurant in Marrakech, we were that people, here's your video. Another story from Marrakech. There is a certain interabled couple out there, not us. They're famous. You probably know who they are. It baffles me how in the middle of North Africa, in the Medina, in Marrakech, somebody walks by me, turns to their friend, and goes, "Oh my God."
No, dude.
Dude.
I know him.
I know him. Turns around, runs up to me, and goes, "Shane?" No, sorry, not him. The most disappointed look on her face. Although, she may have been even more disappointed if I was Shane to find that Shane had left his wife
To be with me?
to be with you.
Maybe.
I would pick you.
Thanks, babe.
But yeah, in Medina, in Marrakech, in Morocco.
I mean, I think we wandered around the Medina most of the day.
Yeah,
And we did opt for an excursion,
we did.
which was a cooking class. I don't even know. So the cooking class was taught by...
So we have to back up for a second just because I think this is another area where accessibility came into play. The way it was presented to us was take a cooking class where you learn to cook Moroccan food. Great, we love food, we love to cook. No problem. I've never taken a cooking class before. Have you?
No.
Maybe this is a bad assumption on my part, but I assumed it would be one-on-one. It was not one-on-one. Okay, fine. We're cooking with other people. No big deal. Not only was it not one-on-one, but the ingredients weren't provided to us.
We were given money and we had to go throughout the Medina as a group to collect these ingredients.
Which, sure, cool. I get it. If you want the Moroccan experience, the Medinas where everyone gets their fresh ingredients, I get it.
I mean, we were able to see other parts of the Medina that we hadn't seen yet,
Sure.
so that was a cool part. But
It was expected that I would keep up with the group. And that was difficult. And then, once we got to the cooking class, it was expected that I would keep up with the class. I ended up just kind of watching you,
yeah,
which was probably what I would have done anyway. So I can't really complain. But
Yeah, the cooking class was conducted in, I think, like the back of a Riad of a like hotel restaurant.
Yeah.
Everyone else, which the front entrance wasn't accessible.
Correct.
So they
Well,
had to,
none of these.
none of the entrances were accessible. We'll call it Moroccan accessible was the entrance we used.
The back entrance was accessible via a 8-foot ramp at a very steep, non-ADA compliant angle. But we made it work.
The cooking class, I have to say, like our group cooked some pretty phenomenal things.
Yeah,
They
They
were
were
really
good.
good.
they were good teachers.
Our teachers are what I could only picture is little Moroccan grandmas.
Yeah,
I think that summarizes it.
yep. Because we had to use a ramp, our driver came with us to this cooking class to get us in, but did not stay.
And then returned.
He refused to let you,
Pick up the ramp
because
and
the
take it.
ramp stayed with us, but he would not let Marissa use the ramp. So we had to wait for him to come back. At this point, the class is over. Everyone else leaves. So we're now alone with these little old Moroccan grandmas.
Which I guess benefited us in the end.
It did. It did. We got pictures with them that no one else did. So that was nice.
Yeah, everyone else just took large group photos. I think we were the only people
Yep.
during our group that got to take an individual picture with the Moroccan grandmas.
But this is an example of was it accessible? Yes. But it was what I would call Moroccan accessible. You know, you had to be willing to be patient, to use a ramp, to wait for the driver to come pick you up. You know, if you wanted to do things kind of at your whim, it wouldn't work out that way. So after days 3 through 5, we drove to Ouarzazate. Ouarzazate is over the high Atlas Mountains. So we had to take a drive through the mountains. That was very, very cool. You know, I think we hit, how high did we get? 5,000?
Yeah, I mean, I think the highest point of the Atlases is like 10 or 11,000.
Okay. We have a picture of it. I forget what the number is, but we have a picture of the height that we had.
It's also in kilometers, so like maybe that's where we're Americans.
true.
Like who even knows how to calculate kilometers to feet?
So this is by far the most accessible room in Morocco, possibly that I've ever stayed in my life. I don't even know what to say about this room. I think I'll just let the video speak for itself. I think when we walked in, we were just in absolute shock that an accessible room like this exists in Morocco. There were 3 separate beds, one in a separate room, which you saw at the beginning of this video. Again, they
Pulled the honeymoon vibes in. I think pretty much at every stay. We also have another set of swans and flowers.
which is very impressive.
I agree. It
On,
takes some ninja skills.
on a hospital bed, no less. I think my favorite detail, which you can sort of see in this video, notice the Johnny Alley tiles to my left, which create a shelf-like area. Now, as we look on the other side of the wall, you'll notice that the bed actually goes into the bathroom. Why? I do not know.
So right outside our hotel room door is
A pool.
a pool. I mean, well, it was a garden area, so to speak.
Yep.
But specifically, they did have a pool. Unfortunately, the pool was above ground, and there really wasn't a way to get to the pool other than like physically being carried up the steps.
Above ground. Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it was an above ground pool.
You're right, that's fair. So the pool wasn't super accessible.
It was, yeah, I agree.
And apparently the hotel probably wasn't like, I think there were other areas that guests could go to. I think there was like an overlook.
I think there was an overlook, there was like a spa area.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of other features of the hotel that were also not accessible because we did come in through the back entrance, not the front main entrance because the main entrance.
Wait, is that true?
Yeah, that was not the main entrance we came in.
Really?
Yeah, the main entrance, I think you had to go upstairs because when you came out of our room, if you looked right, the main entrance was up those stairs.
Today I learned. I had no idea.
So we came in the back because we had to wait for somebody to come to the back door to open it. After spending the night at the hotel, we packed up our belongings and we started traveling.
To our next destination.
Mm-hmm. But along the way, we stopped
at the Atlas Studios, which we learned is a large Hollywood studio where they film pretty much any Middle Eastern war scene. So like Black Hawk Down. The studio itself, I was underwhelmed. I love movies. I didn't think it was that cool.
Yeah, but I think you like completed movies. I don't know if you enjoyed the behind the scenes concept of movies because it's always not what it appears to be.
That's fair, but I mean, I've been to like Warner Brothers studios and that was really cool. Accessibility was an issue. They originally had us booked with just a regular tour route, but I guess the route that tour route takes isn't accessible.
Correct.
To their credit, we did get a private tour at no extra cost. Our guide was a total G. He actually spent time in our home city, which made us feel special. Mm-hmm. And he took us around. It kind of showed us things. I wonder if my feeling of being underwhelmed is merely a fact that we couldn't see everything.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It might have been.
I probably wouldn't recommend doing this.
So after the tour, we get back in the van, we do some more driving.
Yep.
We see what I can only say is this shiny, glimmering object in the far distance, which, like...
We got a really bad photo of it.
Yeah, we do have a bad photo of it. But we asked the tour driver
what it was,
and he promptly explained that...
It's basically a giant mirror that on the ground, around the mirror, are solar panels. It concentrates the sun at solar panels, so it doesn't matter what time of day it is, every solar panel is always being hit with solar rays. But from a distance, it just looked like a giant...
Like UFO had just landed.
Yeah.
I don't know a better word.
Yeah. Really cool though.
So, we got some photos as we were driving by because it was very far in the distance.
Yep.
But it was a cool, unique thing that I think I've only ever seen in Morocco. So, that was, worth a photo. But I think the highlight of that day was really the food at the hotel. Mm-hmm. I think that was top notch.
Yep.
I mean, I stole Connor's goat yogurt. I almost felt like stealing other people's around us's goat yogurt because that goat yogurt, super good.
Yeah, all in all, I'd say Ouarzazate would be a pass next time for me, except for the food.
But can we take it to go?
Yeah. So after Ouarzazate, we had another, I call it a bust. I can't even say this. Yeah.
Boumalne Dades.
I don't even know what she just said. Can you say it in English?
Boumalne Dades?
Can you say it in white person voice?
Boumalne Dades.
Thank you. Boumalne Dades. We didn't do much here. There wasn't really an excursion. I think we
just needed to break up the long drive.
Yeah.
And this was a place, so to speak, that was accessible.
Yep. I did get my first beer here. Melissa totally hoodwinked me.
I did not.
She did. You did.
I did not.
You did. She got me a honeymoon destination that was a dry country. And didn't tell me it was dry country. But the room was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
In this room, you could definitely feel the earthy vibes of Morocco. You know, we were in the Middle Atlas.
Yeah, I would say also it was much more of an open concept layout, especially with the bathroom, which wasn't actually a room, it just kind of had a divider, but very nice, very accessible. Other than that, I think the only notable thing to talk about here is that breakfast was not accessible. They expected us to come inside, which there was a step,
There was a step, yeah.
and I don't think we had a lamp with us.
No, I think the ramp was in the van.
Yeah. And it was freezing cold.
So
in the
we
morning.
basically packed up our breakfast and
And-
took it to our room.
Yep.
But, I mean, you do what you gotta do
We
sometimes.
made it work.
So, after packing up at the Boumalne Dades, we made our way. The end goal was the Sahara.
Which was something that I had been looking forward to, I think, the most.
But on our way there, our driver, this is where he kind of acted like a tour guide.
Mm-hmm.
So he's originally from, I think, outside of Fez, but I think he says Fez. So he asked us, "Are you interested in any rugs? Is that something?" Because Fez is the artisan capital of Morocco. So they have a lot of handmade goods, handmade items. But he asked us, because if you are, don't buy anything in Fez because it's more expensive than you would, outside of Fez. So we were like, I mean, rugs do interest us. So he was like, okay, I got a place for you. We're like, cool, not a problem. I can only say that after that experience of going to the rug shop, our driver bumped up like 63 levels on the driving trust scale.
Yep.
So first of all, most of the vehicles in Morocco are standard.
By standard, she means
Manual transmission. So you have a stick shift, you have gears to change, which is different than the United States. This driver, I can't even explain. Like, I wish we would have caught this on video.
Yeah, so the rug shop was in how is this? Tinghir? Not Tinghir.
Tinghir.
Tinghir, which was in the middle of nowhere. It kind of reminded me of one of those like ghost cities that you see from like China. Like, it was very built up, but maybe only half inhabited. So we go down this road and what appeared to be like a shopping mall.
Yeah, in this shopping mall, like think of like an L-centered shopping mall.
Yeah.
And where the horizontal line meets the vertical line, there's a little alleyway.
Yep.
And
So you're in the alleyway.
that's, I don't even think big enough for a vehicle,
It was real.
but the vehicle fit in it.
Yep.
We get down an alleyway.
Make a turn.
We have to make a 90-degree left-hand turn in what is only big enough for a van.
Yep.
And to the credit of the driver,
He
he
did it.
makes it work.
Yep.
So he pulls down this other little alleyway attached to this other little alleyway up to a shop that I think had stairs up to my waist.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way I could describe it.
Yeah.
So he then, we're like, is this the place you meant to take us to? Like, maybe it's down the road. Like,
Again, 8-foot ramp.
so he's like, no, this is it. We're like, all right.
Had to be pushed up said ramp because it was so steep.
So we finally get up into the rug shop,
And it was worth it. 100%.
and the
No regrets.
The people there were the nicest.
Yep.
They, had beautiful wares. It was a rug co-op, which if you're not familiar with rug co-ops, they work with women in the area who then sell their rugs or make rugs or sell the rugs they have. And women get, I think it was 80% of the commission of the rug, and the co-op keeps only 20% of that commission. So we did buy some rugs.
We did.
It was a great experience. I'm happy that we did it.
I am too.
So after we did the rug thing, we got back in the van and we drove to go to the Sahara.
Yeah. We drove for a while out into the desert. Eventually we come up to basically nothing. We pull over on the side of the road. There is a man with a pickup truck sitting on the side of the road. Melissa loads me into this pickup truck. I'm laying in the back. I can't see this, but I guess they ramp my chair.
So they get like ATV ramps and put it in the on the tailgate so the chair can get into the trunk of the truck.
The bed
of the truck.
Yep.
And he's like, "All right, we're good to go."
I'm like, "No, you need to tie it down."
And we're like, So they're like, "Oh, we have to tie this down." So they're scrambling around, grabbing whatever possible strings they
bungee cords.
It was twine. So they were, had twine and rope and were just tying whatever way they could possibly find, which had my heart a little nervous.
Me too.
Because we're going through dunes and dips and valleys and curves and I can just remember looking back multiple times being like, please don't be sideways. Please don't be sideways. Please don't be in the dirt. Please stay in the bed of the truck.
Yeah, please be there.
So, there's that whole process. We finally get to the location.
Chair is fine.
Chair is fine. They tied it beautifully.
And then we get down and
they drop us off in a patio area.
Yeah.
Like the truck backs up to the patio area. They put the same ramps that we loaded the chair on. We back the chair out. Mm-hmm. Connor gets in.
Yep.
By this time, it's a not quite sunset, but around the time.
Almost. This is where we have our dromedary ride.
Yeah, our dromedary.
I had to ride a dromedary. They did have a accessible harness. They strapped my chest in, they strapped my head on with some pillows. We were able to make it comfy for me. I did have to wear my BiPAP because breathing on the dromedary was a bit difficult, but with BiPAP it was fine.
I do think that the accessible seat that they did have definitely was for someone more able-bodied, I would say.
Yeah.
It wasn't custom in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So we made it custom by picking up various pillows and other things like, accessible people do.
Yeah. But, it was cool.
Yeah, the helpers were more than happy to help us figure it out and get it done. Very appreciative of that help.
So then we do that. We get dropped back off at the patio where our room is.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we discovered that the Sahara accessibility was not what it was billed to be. Our room itself was accessible. No complaints there. But the room was surrounded on all sides by about 3 or 4 feet of wooded patio. Outside of that was sand. We expected this.
It is the Sahara again.
But when we asked, we were told that was hard pack sand. My chair can take hard pack sand. That's not a problem. It was not hard pack sand. So I could not leave that patio area, even to get to the dining area. That was maybe
It was literally like
6 feet.
I would even say 4. Like it was a very small distance.
We had to lay the lamp down.
We had to lay rugs,
Rubs,
which
that's
we
right.
then, because there was a curb to get onto the other patio, we had to then lay the ramp on the rugs.
Yep.
And you were able to get from one area to the other.
Correct. So that was tough. We were able to get there. We were able to eat dinner. At the end of the night, after dinner, there was a Berber fire sing-along type deal.
I would call it that, yeah.
Yeah. That was a good 100 yards
For sure.
from our room. I couldn't go. So here we are in the Sahara. The only activity to do is really sit by this fire pit
Which
and listen
we
to
can't
music,
get
which
to.
we
Yeah.
can't get to. So we called it a night and went to bed. In hindsight, I don't think I would have done this. This is one of 2 areas on the trip that were billed as accessible that just weren't. I give them credit for trying. I think if you're somebody that wants to be able to say you went into the Sahara, stayed a night, and rode a camel, dromedary, it's accessible enough to do that. But if you want to really
Enjoy the
enjoy
experience.
it's not accessible enough. It did afford us probably the coolest time-lapse
I think we've
We've taken.
taken, yeah.
we got the sunrise on time-lapse, and we'll post it now. And that concludes our Saharan adventure. Stay tuned for the next video where we dive deep into Fez and the rest of our Moroccan adventure. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, especially if you want to catch more to see how our trip ends.